All right, let's go in and let's start by looking at the After Effects interface. So I'm going to launch my version of After Effects. Here's our application. Lots of times when I work with After Effects, I'll work with it in conjunction with Adobe Premiere, but you can launch it separately or with Adobe Premiere. I'm going to maximize the application, and let's start by going over the interface and start understanding a little bit about how After Effects works. So the first thing that happens when you open up After Effects is you're going to see this home page that pops up, and there's basically two types of projects. One is I can open a new project, or I can create a new project or open a project I've already started. So if you've been using After Effects before, your recent project will be sitting right here. Otherwise, it'll say new project, okay? And so when I click new project, it's going to give me my composition window, okay? So let's go through this step by step and start to understand the mechanics of After Effects. So first of all, upper left-hand corner, you have your toolbar. So we're going to learn how to use just all the different tools up here. There's a rotate tool, there's a camera, there's a rectangle tool, there's a pen tool, type text tool, paintbrush, etc. So standard tools. They work a little bit different because a lot of the tools can be used over time. I have my menu options up here at the top, okay? In the upper left-hand corner is your project folder. So if you've ever worked with Premiere, you understand the idea of a project folder is where all of my assets go. So let's talk a little bit about how you want to organize your projects when you're using After Effects. So the first thing to understand is that when you're working with After Effects, you have to be extremely organized. Whenever you're doing video or compositing, you have to be extremely organized. So I'll do another video on this in totality, but what you want to do is all the elements or assets that are going to go into that project, you want to make a project folder, and then you want to place those elements into that project folder before you import them into Adobe After Effects, or Premiere for that matter. The reason why is because After Effects will link to those files wherever they are on the hard drive, but if you move those files later, that After Effects project or that Premiere Pro project will not be able to find those elements, and you'll have to spend hours or days searching for files that have already been embedded in your project. So I want to make sure you understand that. So I import my elements into this project folder. Behind the project folder is the Effect Controls panel. So there's thousands of different types of effects that I can apply to clips that allow me to do all sorts of different types of things that allow me to type text and have the text fly on the screen sequentially, all kinds of different types of things. So underneath my project is my effects. In the middle is my composition window, okay? And there's two ways to create a composition. I can create a composition from scratch, or I can create a composition from some already imported footage. So what is a composition? A composition is my workplace, is where I create my art. And when I'm working in After Effects, the things that I create are called compositions. And down here in the lower left, when you click, it makes it active. This is where my different layers of elements will go. I drag from my project down into my layers over here. And once I have these objects here, they're stacked on one another. Whatever's at the bottom of the stack is at the bottom of your art. And each object is stacked on top of the next. This is my timeline. And the idea with the timeline is that I'm moving my objects over time. And I'm animating those objects over time. And that's what After Effects allows me to do. In the upper right-hand corner, I have my menus. So right now, I'm going to go up to Window, and I'm going to go to Workspace, and I'm going to set it to Standard. So what I suggest you do for now is use the Standard Workplace. And then later on, when you get fancy, you can start looking at different types of workplaces. Like, for instance, if you're doing some motion tracking or something like that, you may want to open that panel. So over on the right, these are all of my different types of elements that I can use to help create my art. I have my effects and presets. I have tools for alignment, and those tools will vary depending upon what type of element I'm working with, okay? So that's my basic layout. Now in the middle, you'll see this is where my composition goes. And what I can do is have actually more than one composition at a time, so you kind of have to pay attention to that. That's our basic layout or basic interface for the After Effects application. So the next video, we're going to start by making some things. Let's stop here. We'll come back shortly.